Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and a happy new year. I am Kevin Bowen. We are back, Colts Corner, with myself, Kevin Bowen, Eddie Garrison across the way. Eddie, where has that been all year? The ultimate tease game. That's, I think, what I'm going to reference, 38-30, Colts over Titans. I think I said to you at the start of the year, and I'd probably have, I don't know if there's a thing I've been more wrong on this year about the Colts. I thought Taylor, Richardson would be Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts. Would be Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. And it has not been that. But for one Sunday, inside of Lucas Oil Stadium, it was certainly that. That was dominant on the ground. We will break down a whole lot here as we recap Week 16. The Colts keep their slim playoff hopes alive.
Happy holidays to you and yours, KB. Happy holidays to all of our listeners for whatever holiday they celebrate during this time of the year. And Jeffrey Simmons, I think, lit a spark underneath the asses of that Colts offensive line by saying last week that nobody in the AFC South has ran on the Tennessee Titans since he's been a part of the division.
Yeah, it was weird. You know, the Brian Callahan, soft audio was kind of odd, and then for them to look like that. And, you look at the two Taylor home runs that we'll get into. I mean, was he even touched?
I think he was touched on the second one, but at his ankles or something.
Just great blocking.
Yeah.
I mean, just unbelievable. And obviously great cuts, and that gear was on full display. So, yeah, franchise record, 335 on the ground. We will get into Anthony Richardson because there's an element after every game, Eddie, with the Colts here in 2024 of what happened in the game. Did Anthony Richardson grow or not? That storyline is with every game. That's a reality, I think, of any young team with a franchise quarterback, but especially with Richardson as we start to get here at the end of year 2. So we'll get to that here. And let's go off playoff scenarios. Should we do that right here at the start?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so this is where they sit, Week 17 now approaching. It's online at 1075thefan.com because I know it will sound a little confusing. The first one, basically the Colts entered last week with 4 ways to get in the playoffs.
Okay.
One of them was eliminated on Saturday. The Ravens won. The Colts needed the Ravens to lose out to have a chance. So that one's gone. So you still got 3 chances to get in. And the first one, I guess, is just the most straightforward. Colts win 2, Chargers lose 2. Colts are at Giants and against the Jags, and the Chargers are at the Patriots and at the Raiders. So that would be the, again, easiest to explain, but I would argue rather unlikely. I don't see the Chargers losing to the Patriots and the Raiders. That was a huge win. That was a big comeback by the Chargers on Thursday Night Football.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how much, people stayed up for that, but Herbert was outstanding coming back and winning that game. So that's the first one. The next one involves the Broncos losing out in both scenarios. So the Broncos finish with at Cincinnati, home to Kansas City. Now again, what's Kansas City playing for Week 18, Eddie? Right now, they could clinch the 1 seed this weekend. If that happens, that's Lord Carson Wentz under center for the Chiefs in Week 18.
I'd be fascinated to see what they do because then that's 2 weeks off.
Yeah, but I just think with Chris Jones getting hurt, I don't know. I mean, Mahomes has dealt with that ankle.
Andy Reid's always been different, though.
No, I just don't think you mess with it, but we'll see. So again, you need the Broncos to lose both, and then in scenario 2, you would need the Dolphins to win out. Scenario 3, the Bengals to win out, or both of them win out. So the Dolphins finish with at Browns, at Jets. On paper, that's very doable. It's also 2 in the cold. The Bengals finish with Broncos and Steelers. Again, what will the Steelers be playing for Week 18? So one more time, Colts have to win out in the 3 scenarios. Number 1, the Chargers lose out at Patriots, at Raiders. Scenario 2, Broncos lose to the Bengals, Chiefs. Dolphins beat Browns, Jets. Scenario 3, again, the Broncos have to lose out. That's Bengals, Chiefs. And then you would need Cincinnati then to win their final 2. Obviously, they would have already beaten Denver under that scenario. And then they'd have to do it to the Steelers in Week 18. So, again, up in written form on 1075thefan.com. Technically, Eddie, when the Colts kick off on Sunday, they might already be eliminated. Chargers, Patriots, 1 o'clock Saturday. Bengals, Broncos, 4:30 Saturday. Again, the Colts need the Chargers and the Broncos to lose. If just one of them lose, then they'll still be alive. But Saturday football does matter to the Colts here in Week 17.
Essentially, what you're saying is they need to be in a 3-way tie for that last playoff spot in order to get into the playoffs.
Or head-to-head with the Chargers. Head-to-head with the Chargers, you would get in over them because of conference record.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, but you don't want to be solo with Denver. If it's just you and Denver, they got the head-to-head.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you need to involve Cincinnati. You need to involve Miami because that would create conference record.
Of course, it all starts, though, with the Colts taking care of business against the Giants, who they will face on Sunday, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars to end the season. Yesterday, Colts dominant in the run game, 200-plus yards from Jonathan Taylor, 218 exactly as a team, 335 on the ground, 50 total carries. Let's start with the run game in general, KB, in terms of what you liked.
Home run hitting. I mean, big plays. I thought it was kind of fitting right after the Richardson interception, Eddie, they went full run on that next drive. 6 plays. Taylor started off with an 8-yarder. Richardson ripped off the, what was it officially, 29?
Yes.
Yeah, 29. A couple more. Taylor runs, and then Richardson, boy, that pulling Quentin Nelson into the end zone. That was pretty easy. So they went full run after that, and then that started again. 12 straight runs, 21 of 23 runs. I mean, it was just pounded at them. And, I've just been waiting for it all year long. Like, when will this happen? When will you get the home run hitting? Because, I thought the first Taylor touchdown, well, actually, it probably was more the second one, the first play of the third quarter. That was so reminiscent for me of, like, Notre Dame, Indiana Friday night. People just, underestimate.
There it is.
People at times, I think, underestimate Taylor and just how much he can get to that gear. That safety took a horrific angle on him on the 70-yarder, and boom, he's gone. And it's the ability to be untouched, the jump cut, and then the ability to get to that extra gear. That's what just separates Taylor, frankly, from so many running backs. So what a great day. I thought the run blocking was really, really good as well. They churned out enough. I think this is an element, Eddie, that you would like to see in the final few weeks of, when you just hammer it at teams that already are drafting in the top 5, that's got to be so freaking deflating and so demoralizing. And again, the Giants don't have their best player, Dexter Lawrence. I mean, like, when you compound all that together, it's just a recipe for what you would think is a lot of success on paper. So, it had some Army-Navy vibes to it, but damn, when it's working, I get it. And it was just a heavy run the damn ball type of afternoon, and it was outstanding by the Colts.
I know you and I fall into this category sometimes where we like to eliminate the big plays because then it doesn't really summarize how your overall game was, but taking away the long touchdown runs from Taylor, outside of those 2 runs, it was very, very minimal, averaging less than 3 yards per carry. I think it was 2.9. It was like 27 carries for 83 yards, I think is what it came out to be.
Yeah, and obviously, like, that's not great efficiency, but the home runs are just so dynamic that's really what truly matters, is the fact that you're able to turn, again, and I'll reference the Notre Dame IU game because, if you make that tackle there at, D'Angelo Pons takes a poor angle Friday night, if you make that tackle at 13 yards, Notre Dame's still got to go, 85? If Tennessee makes that tackle at whatever, 10, are you still committing to the ground attack for the rest of the drive? Do you still have all of that? It's just when you're able to break the back with the home run, I think it just adds such a wrinkle. And the Colts really never got into throwing it, of course, off of that, but that adds that. I mean, you know how committed the Giants and the Jags are about to be to have guys in the box these next 2 weeks? And again, can Richardson deliver off of that? You're going to get more of the one-on-one A.D. Mitchell down the sideline type of moments, and we'll see if they get Alec Pierce back. So home runs were pretty special and been waiting all year for it, and you got it in a big, big way. I thought Taylor was going to get the record there for a while. That was I was a little torn watching it from the press box, Eddie. I'm like, should they put him back in?
Because he didn't play at all in the 4th, right?
No, he did, but it took a while for them to put him back in.
Yeah, it was when it became a 1-score game, right?
Did they go Sermon back-to-back series? They might have done that. And, like, I get it, to a degree. I'm like, well, it's kind of awkward there of 38-7. How long are you going to run him? Taylor's been dealing with some ankle stuff, but then it's like, damn. I mean, if you put him back in there, I think he's gonna break his own record. So he had 218. His own is what, 253.
Yep.
And then Adrian Peterson's got 296. So hell of a day from number 28. Hell of a day for the Colts rushing attack.
Took you almost 7 minutes to mention it once, and now you've mentioned it twice in like 9 minutes. So, any more jabs you'd like to take?
Well, no, I got 0 jabs. I thought Notre Dame kicked their ass.
Okay. I thought it was a very non-aggressive.
I thought it was some soft coaching by the man that talks a whole lot.
Yeah. There was just no assertiveness or aggression from Indiana in that game.
He acted like his punter was Ray Guy. Punter's out there just shanking it right and left.
I think that spoke more about the confidence he had in the defense at the time than he did in the offense. So
did they just take another fair catch on a kickoff?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Getting back into what you did, let's look at the defense. DeForest Buckner, right from the start, was blowing things up. Very first play of the game, him and Grover blew it up, but Pollard went outside, got a very minimal gain, and I thought, okay, it's going to be one of those games where those two guys dominate, and they pretty much did.
Yeah, Buckner had that sequence there, Eddie. I forget the exact order of plays, but he had the batted down ball on the 3rd down that led to the long field goal.
Yep. Where he was being blocked, almost.
And it was at Rudolph's
sacked
first.
Rudolph.
I think that might have been Rudolph's first incompletion, the batted down ball. So they missed it from 53. If they make that, Eddie, they're up 10-0. I mean, it's just those little plays that kind of get lost in the shuffle of the game. And then he had the back-to-back quarterback hits on the 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1. He had the stuff of the QB sneak. That was the opening drive maybe of the game. Buckner's just been. He has had a Pro Bowl season despite missing 5 games. When you look at the numbers, it's right up there. And then Kenny Moore, I just thought that was a great read on the interception there on the 3rd and 4. So I thought your Pro Bowl defenders played like it. And again, there's a lot of defensive volatility around to it that we'll get to, but I wanted to make sure we singled out those two guys because not only do I think they've played pretty good football season long, especially Buckner, I thought individually in a day where I didn't think you had gobs of defensive playmaking and like the Pollard INT, it's kind of gifted to you. I thought those two provided it for you.
Shout out to Jalen Carlisle. His first game back, 10 sacks, leads the team in sacks. Tackle for loss.
10 tackles, right?
Yeah. That's why. Did I say sacks?
Yeah.
That would
have been a career day.
Yeah, I know, right? Thank you for the correction there.
Yeah, I tweeted this out on Saturday when they bumped him up. I was like, man, what a great opportunity. And you can't ignore the elephant in the room. EJ Speed's in a contract year.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how long Speed's going to be out, but a big move for Carlisle. I didn't feel him as much as I think the box score indicated. I definitely noticed him a little bit, but eager to watch him get some more snaps here.
You have anything else to add here in what you liked? I know it's a win, but
that's really where I kind of, if I went to subtle things, Anthony Gould continues to be a little spark.
Yeah.
As a return man, I think credit to him. He obviously got benched early in the year and for a couple months, really, and I thought he has shown a flash or two, both in kick and punt. Doolin also had the nice kick return, so I would probably go there, but outside of that, I don't think anything really stands out. I mean, the run game was just so dominant. So, that in general stands out. And I guess I could probably go offensive line, but I kind of group that into the entire rushing effort. But those are the main things.
Let's stick with the offense and what you did not like. You've already kind of hinted at it a little bit when you talked about that drive where the Colts ran it down Tennessee's throat all the way down the field. Anthony Richardson as a passer was not good yesterday.
I want to make sure that I'm clear on this. I get why Shane Steichen handcuffed him.
Did he handcuff him or did he go with what was working finally?
Both. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, both. Again, that's why I said I get why he did it. Understandably, I don't blame him for it. Because if you watch the first couple series unfold, it was a 50-50 split. They were not run heavy to start the game. It was a very balanced split. Okay, what happened? He missed a layup to Mo Alley Cox.
Yep.
He overthrows Pittman. Then he gets the seam route in the red zone. It's wide open. He's late. His eyes just stick to Ogletree. He, throws a pitching wedge ball when it should have been a 5-iron ball. It should have been probably more of a driven ball in there. And he gets picked. And again, understandably, whether Shane Steichen wants to admit it or not, he said, enough's enough. I'm running it, and I'm running it, and I'm running it. And he ran it with Sermon. It's not like he just ran it with Taylor.
Right.
And again, 12 straight runs, 21 of 23, and it's just wild to have a game of football, Eddie, in indoor weather where over the final 49 minutes of football, your quarterback throws it 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
5. And think about the throws. in that 21 of 23 play stretch where they ran it, it was the deep ball to Mitchell. Either Mitchell comes down with it or nobody. It was the quick screen to Downs, who tiptoes down the sideline. Mm-hmm. It's not like he had processing plays or like, hey, find the tight end over the middle again, something like that. So this gets back to what I said at the start of the podcast, Eddie, of every single game this season, I walk away from it thinking, what did Anthony Richardson show me in growth areas? That's the key phrase, in growth areas. He is a gifted-ass runner. It's we saw it on full display yesterday. I know we can do that. But each game, I make sure that I ask myself that question. And if you just ask yourself that question for Sunday, you saw nothing.
Right.
Right? Nothing great. Obviously, 3rd and 8, that was a nice ball to Pittman. Honestly, I was curious, would they even throw it here to end the game there to kind of ice it? And that was a nice ball. That's a ball he struggled with. So, give credit to where credit's due there. But the unfortunate nature of this awkward balance that Shane Steichen has, and I get it. It's difficult. I'm not acting like Shane Steichen's got an easy situation here. Do you coach to win or do you coach to develop Richardson?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're 6 and 8 and there's rumors of your job, being on the hot seat, you're probably going to coach to win, right? Okay, so then you treat Richardson like it's Army or Navy. And he gave Richardson an opportunity to start the game to dictate terms a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Again, they had the balance early on with the running and throwing, and then as soon as the interception happened, boom, none of it happened. And then, boy, I thought the whole, training with a rugby ball, I thought that was kind of interesting. Pre-game, he's throwing the rugby ball. I know nothing, but, don't you think Anthony Richardson treats the football too many times like it's a vortex?
Didn't he say he did that so, when he gets the actual NFL football, it feels like a Nerf ball in his hand?
Right, but isn't that not what he wants? Doesn't he already throw enough fastballs?
I'm not sure there.
I know. I didn't totally follow that, to be honest with you. So, I just think with Richardson, again, he is a gifted talent. And it's games like this is a reminder, Eddie, of you don't need that much from him as a thrower.
No.
You don't. If you look at Anthony Richardson's win-loss record or again, most of these games, he's played in a couple that have gotten out of hand, but most of the losses are even one-possession games. If he could just eliminate some of the turnovers, incrementally get that completion percentage a little bit higher, hit on a few more chunks down the field, like the throw to Mitchell, if he could just sprinkle in some of that more consistently, you would really have something to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't ignore the stuck in mud, and you could call it regression of, he leads the league in interception percentage. You just can't survive that.
Yeah.
You have to have, that's not even the ground ball that throws to Mo Alley Cox early in that game, So, unfortunately, again, it's a win. I get why Shane Steichen coached in that manner, but if you were drumming up the ideal blueprint for a Colts win in 2024, it would look more like the Jets game than it does this game.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I know this can be a strength. And smart by Shane Steichen to pound that. I know some people are like, hey, you should throw Richardson. Richardson should throw 40 or 50 passes every game the rest of the season. Well, I understand why you're saying that, but people are also saying Shane Steichen might lose his job.
Yeah.
So, how should he handle that? That's what just makes this so awkward. It's just so awkward to be affiliated with the Colts right now. As a fan, I thought that place was an August atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Right or wrong, I don't blame fans for eating tickets or what. Secondary market was $15 at game time, if that. So, I thought on the what I didn't like, just Anthony Richardson as a thrower is where I would go.
Colts forced a 3-and-out on the first drive of the game because of that DeForest Buckner stop on the QB sneak early. After that, they gave up a touchdown where, for some reason, Sam Womack is playing 15 yards off coverage and somehow still gets beat downfield to give up a touchdown to Calvin Ridley. And then Tennessee missed that 53-yard field goal, as you alluded to. So you didn't like the start and certainly not the finish either. I thought they went prevent too early. And it caused a little bit of doubt there at the end for the Colts fans.
Yeah, the fact that the Titans scored 30 points and 4 touchdowns off of real drives. All 4 of those were over 50 yards.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they got the pick six, the Richardson turnover. It's not like that led to a huge return or anything. So I think that is just frustrating and just shows you the volatility of it. You brought up some of the individual plays there. I'm curious to watch this Jalen Jones injury now. Anytime you hear throat, you hate it for him. He had missed, I think, one snap all year up until that point. And now does this mean Juju Brent's time? David Long Jr. comes in the game and boom, penalty on the same play. And
pass interference and face mask. Wasn't that it?
Right. The one thing about the Giants, they're horrific, but, it is Malik Neighbors.
Yep.
So that'll be something to keep an eye on here in Week 17. But, yeah, just overall defensive volatility. 30 points to Mason Rudolph. You can't have it. Not stunned by it. Weirdly, it's funny. You've been in the Colts press box, haven't you?
Yeah.
So, we sit on the second level, and the Titans media or visiting media sits on the first level. But, if you have casual conversations amongst our group, sometimes the people below can hear that, and they'll comment. And, I won't say the members of the media, but, a few of them oh, my gosh, they're going to blow this. At 38-7, they were like, this game's not over. And the Titans media are like, are you guys idiots? This game is so over.
Yeah, I remember Minnesota from 2 years ago.
They're like, Mason Rudolph's not coming back, and just the slow bleed of it all. If you really stuck with the Colts game and you didn't go to red zone, it was just a slow 38-15, 38-23, 38-30. Here's 3rd and 8 at the 2-minute warning with 180 people left in the building. It's it was just, sometimes when those comebacks happen, it's the 80-yard bomb or, it's the big fumble on a kick return that all of a sudden turns it. But it was just slowly. So, again, no surprise. You guys know my thoughts on the Colts defense. Not overly shocked that they didn't string performances together. But, hey, survived.
Survive and advance. That's the name of the game, right?
Amen, babe. Sounds like March.
Are you ready for Twitter questions?
Let's do them.
We were just talking about this before we started recording, Kevin. It's always weird how we get very minimal questions after wins and compared to losses. We get floored with questions. 4 to get to today, starting with Chris. What is Gus Bradley's problem? Seriously, I'm not surprised by the one-score lead in the fourth quarter because every time the Colts defense plays great in one game, they play bad in the next game.
I just think there's a little bit of was it Denny Green? They were who we thought they were, something like that.
We are who we thought they were.
We got a 3-year sample size.
And let them off the hook.
This isn't close to a playoff caliber defense. I would say, what are consistent elements to the Colts defense? I'd say the two names we mentioned earlier in the pod, 99 and 23.
Yeah.
I wouldn't classify anyone else as super consistent. Maybe Zaire Franklin, but
90?
Yeah. You could probably go to Grover. But yeah, they just, it's not like Latu's had super consistent playmaking. I know Quiddy had a sack yesterday. I'd call that more of a covered sack. I don't think he's made massive strides as a pass rusher. So, yeah, it's a 3-year sample size. This isn't close to a playoff caliber defense. It hasn't been at all in the Gus Bradley era. Tremendous against Denver. And you're going to have that. You're going to have, a game or two each year where you look like the 85 Bears, but the other, 80% of the season will tell you who you are, and this is another year of a middling to below average defense.
What, they're 7-1 against teams, or 1-7 against teams above 500, meaning they are 6-1 against teams that are under?
Yeah, let me go ahead and ask the question. Let me look this up. I was curious, looking a little deeper into who they've beaten. So go ahead and ask the next question.
Colt Maniac has the next question, and he would like, or she would like you to change their mind. The Colts play their best football when they have a losing record. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to Colt Maniac and all of our listeners out there. The Colts lose to bad teams. And to put that in a perspective, Eddie, this is where they're at, okay? If you go off of draft order right now.
Yes.
Okay, the Colts beat the 25th drafting team in Pittsburgh, a.k.a. a good team. They have also, their other wins are this. The team drafting 9th, 4th, 12th, 8th, 2nd, and then 4th again.
Mm-hmm.
And if they win these last two, they'll add 1st and 3rd to that.
Yep.
So you could end the year with 9 wins, 8 of those 9 against teams drafting in the top 12.
Yep.
7 of the 9 wins against teams drafting in the top 9.
Yep.
The Jets are at 12th. Is that right? Or is it the Dolphins at 12th? It's got to be the Dolphins at 12th, right?
Correct.
which, of course, the Tua thing helped you there. Then obviously Pittsburgh at 25th. So, again, we can go over this in any other way. You can look at it from that sample size. You can look at it from the list of quarterbacks they've beaten in the last year plus. It's not pretty. Eddie, you produce Pacer games.
That's right.
What the Pacers are doing right now is they are flipping the script a bit on their season. They lost to bad, and now they're starting to beat good. At some point, you got to flip it.
It's similar to last year. If you look at them, pretty much the same exact record at this point a year ago.
So again,
for the
you
Pacers.
can lose to bad in the NFL, but at some point you got to flip it. And right now the Colts, they lost to Malik Willis and the Jags, and they haven't been able to flip it with anything. Steelers is it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, at some point you've got to flip it, and that's why they need these 8-game parlays down the stretch to Operation Ninth Year Chris Ballard. That's kind of where you're at right now. So, I guess to summarize it up, what does that mean? It means you're a mediocre to below average football team.
Mm-hmm.
Simply, that's what it means, and that's, I think, a fair description of the 2024 Colts.
Boy, you said parlay, and I'm just hating my life. Kentucky ruined it for me over the weekend. Had a nice big one, and then they lose to Ohio State. I'm mad.
Oh, you went with that Champions Classic?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was not in Kentucky.
Did you?
I thought it was in Lexington.
Hey, how about my Colts streak coming to an end there?
I know. I wasn't going to mention it because I'm nice.
No, I deserve for that mention. Did you bet Notre Dame IU?
I did.
You take IU, I'm assuming, the points?
No, I took Jeremiah Love and Notre Dame.
Oh, wow. So what did it finish
I just
at?
took Notre Dame to win. I didn't take the spread.
Oh, okay. Because it started to come down. I think it finished at 6 or 6.5, and there were some whispers in the Notre Dame message boards that it was Love related. And, he ended up, I don't know if you saw, but he ended up, having the flu. That's why he didn't play as
Couldn't
much
tell on that 98-yard touchdown run.
Yeah. But I got nervous because I thought it was his knee injury that was contributing to that. So it's kind of wild that here we are, and not to get into college football debate, but the 8 seed is favored over the 1 seed.
I know.
Ohio State is favored over Oregon, and, Notre Dame and Georgia's kind of close. Well, Georgia's starting quarterback looks like it's going to be out. You don't have that with Oregon. It's just kind of a crazy year in college football.
I know this isn't a college football pod, but I think they need to adopt the NFL rules where they reseed after the first round. Because Boise State gets Penn State.
Yeah, I don't...
Or is it Arizona State? Which one of them?
No, Boise State gets Penn State. Arizona State's got Texas. I don't love that idea. What I would prefer is...
It's just not fair to Penn State.
Right. What I would rather say is the top 4 teams get the buys.
Or Oregon, I should say. It's not fair to Oregon.
You shouldn't give the automatic buys to Big 12, ACC, and Group of 5. 2 of those 3 get buys. No, you should go with the top 4 teams get buys, and we should go home field for the first 2 rounds. That scene Friday night, it was absurd. It was Hollywood. It's everything that you want for as a fan. That atmosphere, and I'm saying this pregame. That scene, that's what college athletics are all about.
Mm-hmm.
The tailgate scene, the night game, the cold weather. Obviously, you had the unique storyline of 2 teams that have so many just kind of overlapping fans. But we need more of that. That college athletics, people are skeptical of, hey, it's getting too pro-like. Okay, make sure these moments still happen.
Yeah.
Secure that. Don't have the Sugar Bowl guy handed Marcus Freeman the big old, hey, welcome to the Sugar Bowl after the game, and neutral sites are going to be the new thing. No. Those moments are absurd. And not to get all I don't know if sentimental is the right word, but
$40 million to South Bend, right, is what the economic impact it had?
Right. And think about State College and, think about your own college town, wherever you're from. Yes, you have Austin and Columbus and some of that, but that stuff is just so authentic and it's so real that I really hope we don't get away from it. And, to your point about Oregon getting punished, I'm with you. I think the fact that Oregon fans have to get on a plane to go to the Rose Bowl and then to the Cotton Bowl and then to Atlanta is a lot. And that's saying if they would have came here for the Big Ten title game.
Yeah.
Give them the one home game. They deserve it. Whereas now Ohio State gets them on a neutral field, and Ohio State will probably have more fans than Oregon.
I know the reseeding thing doesn't apply here because all the top seeds won, but I just don't think it's right. Oregon's the best team in college football, at least throughout the season, and they get Ohio State. Meanwhile, Penn State plays SMU, and now they play Boise State.
Well, the problem, too, is technically if you reseeded it, Oregon would still get Ohio State
That's what I was just saying, yeah.
Right, because Ohio State is the 8 seed.
It's a moot point by me that I made.
You just got to bump. If Texas and Penn State got the buys and then you started to bump everybody down, I think you would have had, more competitive round 1 games, and I think your round 2 would just look a little bit better. You wouldn't have these. Technically, Texas and Penn State are the higher seeded teams.
Yeah.
And they're 2 touchdown favorites or double-digit favorites over the 3 and the 4 seed. But enough is enough.
2 questions left. Austin and Mac asked a very similar one, so we looped them together. Honestly, apathy really hit me with this team this year. Feels like a broken record knowing we're going to be another 500-ish team not making the playoffs once again. Why did Anthony Richardson only throw the ball 11 times today and had an interception and 11 pass attempts, mind you? Why not air it out and put up a ton of points?
My hands are in the air.
Or I guess the question is, why not air it out when you're up a ton of points?
Well, again, it comes back to the debate of what is Shane Steichen's job? Win football games or develop Anthony Richardson?
Ooh, very hard. Because it's both.
Very hard. It is both. But, I think I've reached the point in the season, Eddie, where it's just keep Richardson healthy and let him get to the offseason, and then you strip it down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you make the massive changes. I think that's where I'm at. If you want to be super glass half full, okay, where did he grow this year? Stayed pretty darn healthy.
Yep.
Some big-time fourth-quarter moments.
Got some experience.
On the road. Got great experience. That's probably where the list stops.
Yeah.
Again, where did he regress? Well, you could say accuracy. You could say turnovers. You could say the lack of deep balls. Don't think all 3 of those are directly his fault, but, that's where – and I just think the fan base is torn. I mean, I brought this up on our morning show, and on our morning show we have a live YouTube chat, so you kind of get live reactions to what people are saying, and they're like, wait a minute. They scored 38 points. That's the most they've scored all year, right? Most since the Cleveland game, I think it was last year.
Uh-huh.
And you want Richardson to throw it more, and I'm like, let me be clear, and I guess I'm now repeating myself here. I get why Shane Steichen operated in the way he did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he planned for that to happen based off how the first 10 minutes unfolded.
Yeah.
But then the interception said, F it. I can't trust him anymore. So we're going to run it, and now we're having success. Why would I go back to him?
Mm-hmm.
And, if I'm the head coach on the hot seat.
Allegedly.
Right. Again, I'm just throwing it out there. I get that. You're trying to make the playoffs. And then, weirdly, you're also trying to develop him. And it's 2 weeks of benching does not mean he's going to become more accurate.
Right.
I think we all probably need to remind ourselves of that. So there kind of came a point in the season where it's all right, this is his accuracy. It's going to be that for the rest of the season. You're going to have to probably live with it. And then, the hope and the dream in the offseason is he takes massive strides.
Kev, I don't know if you saw this, but after the game, there was a very unhappy wide receiver on an AFC team.
Really?
Yes.
Would
you like to guess A, the team, or B, the player?
George Pickens, or did he not play in the game?
He did not play. He missed his 3rd straight game. It does sound like he's playing this week, though.
Who is this?
Garrett Wilson.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
He's been upset at times this year.
Yeah, it seems as of late, Rodgers has only been throwing to Devontae Adams.
Right. Yeah, Garrett Wilson, good football player. I always think he's playing old school with how much those sleeves hang.
Oh my gosh, yes. Final question is from Zach.
Ben Shepard last night.
Final question is from Zach. I joked about this, I think, last week on Corey and Company. We were talking about just how the Colts, what they should do, with their offense or whatever. Should the Colts run the triple option? I also think A.D. Mitchell deserves a shout out for the blocking on some of those big run plays.
You know what my dream is right now?
An NFL team to hire one of the coaches from Army and Navy and run the triple option?
That's where you thought I was going. I'm going to pivot off of that. I'm going to go a little play action off of that. Chris Ballard, 9th year, happens. Pick 16 in April, and he drafts a fullback from Navy. And just full wishbone, baby. Full wishbone. It's funny. I saw Anthony Richards' agent tweeted out after the game. He retweeted. I want to say it might have been the rushing touchdown Richardson had.
Mm-hmm.
And he tweeted out the phrase, keep applying pressure. And I think that's a really good phrase to describe Richardson as a football player.
Yeah.
He does apply pressure to a defense. He does. And I think he's difficult to prepare for. With Richardson and how you defend him, there's a little bit of you're just kind of hoping that he's inaccurate underneath.
Yeah.
And largely he is. So you get away with that. But if he can all of a sudden apply pressure in one more area, again, now you have something.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just a really I had never heard of that in regards to Richardson. He obviously has flaws, clearly. But he does apply pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, some of it is negative, et cetera, but I don't know. I thought that, boy, I would so love if the Colts went straight triple option. And again, I thought that was what, I thought this recipe, obviously not 335, but I thought this recipe we would see a lot more of this season. It's probably been the thing I was most bullish on coming into the year that has not turned out the way it has.
All right, Kev, I got a couple questions for you. I was watching Penn State SMU, and Tyler Warren should be the first pick, the Colts. That's who they should take in the first round.
You good with taking a tight end that early?
Yeah. Like a Brock Bowers.
I know it's high praise, but again, there's a lot that obviously don't turn into Brock Bowers, but yeah.
The other question, what's the biggest need offensively for the Colts going into next year? I know we still have 2 games left, but athleticism, speed, consistency.
Yeah, I haven't even let my mind go there yet. I could talk myself into so many needs. I mean, I just listed to you the 2 biggest.
Not even from a player or a position standpoint, just from a skill position,
Right.
from a skill standpoint.
Yeah, but then I just keep on coming back
Or
to
toughness.
Defense. Who are your consistent playmakers? Are they both 30? I mean, they're both close to 30, right? Kenny Moore and DeForest Buckner?
Yeah.
You can't ignore that. I mean, where are you at O-line-wise? Gonzalez, right tackle of the future. I don't know. I still think, certainly you could use some skill talent, but damn, I'm not going to go there just yet. I just got to see if Santa Claus is going to be there on Christmas Day. Is that okay?
Yeah. What's the weekly schedule for us this week, KB?
This is going to be it, pod-wise. So, Colts all over the Giants, right? Giants are terrible, right? Who is it? Is it Drew Lock?
I think so.
7.5 it's opened up at.
Shout out to my guy, Tyrone
Tracy, Decatur Central, the Hawks, baby, Eddie Garrison's alma mater.
Yeah.
They've played
former
pretty
classmate,
good football.
yeah.
So, or he has played pretty good football. So, again, playoff scenarios up on the website, 107.5 The Fan. We'll come back Monday. We'll recap Colts and Giants and see what is at stake in Week 18. He's Eddie Garrison and Kevin Bowen. Safe travels. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We love you all. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you.